Jonathan Strong is a reporter for National Review. Thanks for being here this morning.
Good morning.
The New York Times looks at today the disconnect, or the two options that Congress has ahead of it. As members of Congress return, legislation is competing with controversies.
Right.
What do you think will dominate the dialogue as we see members of the House and Senate return to Washington?
Yeah, we've seen in the last few weeks that immigration was the big issue, of the topic du jour, and now the scandals have consumed Washington for a few weeks. And in order for immigration really to have a good shot at becoming a law signed by President Obama, the people who are pushing it say that it would have to be done before the August recess. So it's a conflict here, which one will get attention. Although there's another view that the scandals actually help insulate the immigration bill from criticism, and that they're kind of flying under the radar of all the anger over the IRS and the AP and the Benghazi.
The New York Times says that for President Obama, how the competing priorities of the controversies versus the legislation, how they balance out, can mean the difference between securing that immigration bill or becoming consumed by charges of scandal. So they lay out what Jonathan Weissman thinks that the president has on the line. What do Republicans have on the line?
Well, yeah, it's the interesting question. We actually covered this at National Review. We had an editorial that said, look, Republicans, this is not the same as a positive agenda for the party. And there is this debate going on. How much do these scandals actually help Republicans? It's embarrassing for the president, but his polls seem to be staying the same. My view as a reporter is I just enjoy, I think these stories are important on their own merits. Beyond whatever political impact they have. And also just in terms of in the future, when people are thinking about maybe doing some of these things that prompt these scandals, that they might think twice because of what a big hubbub it caused back in the day.
Let's take a listen to what Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat of New York, had to say on NBC's Meet the Press yesterday about immigration reform.
Well, first, we're going to put immigration on the floor starting on June 10th. I predict it will pass the Senate by July 4th. We're hoping to get 70 votes, up to 70 votes, which means a lot of Republicans, and we're willing to entertain amendments that don't damage the core principles of the bill, but improve the bill, just as we did in committee. We came out of the committee very strong. Our Gang of Eight stuck together, and we picked Orrin Hatch's vote as well. But let me say this about, in general, these so-called scandals have not diverted us one iota. You have on the Gang of Eight 3 of the people who have been most critical of the president on some of these other issues. But I think the 8 of us realize how important this is, more important probably than any of these scandals, to the future of America, for job growth, for the middle class, for straightening out this system, and it hasn't interfered one iota. We are moving forward because we believe in a bipartisan way this is so vital for America, and we'll have a good bill.
The timeline that Senator Schumer laid out, do you expect to see that happen?
It could. It's still up in the air, actually. So Senator Marco Rubio is the lead Republican on this gang, and he is floating a plan. He's talking with some of the more conservative senators of including a specific border enforcement plan rather than letting the Department of Homeland Security come up with one. And he hopes that that will address the concerns that the bill doesn't have enough on the border security side, and that would result in 70-plus votes. I don't know even if he'll be successful in getting that amendment, 1, and 2, if that will get the Republican votes he hopes it will, if he were able to.
You had a piece earlier in May, reality check for Rubio, and you look at how Senator Rubio is faring, who some of his allies are, and how he's positioning. Tell us more about what role he'll continue to play as a member of the Gang of Eight on immigration reform.
Yeah, he's taken big hits for his role in the Gang of Eight in the world of conservatives, and a lot of conservative voters have soured a little bit on him since he took the lead on this issue. One of the things I looked at in my piece is that the House chairman, Republican chairman, Bob Goodlatte, held a hearing that was essentially an argument against the Gang of Eight's bill. He brought in experts, they went through all the loopholes, the reasons that it's not going to really secure the border in their view, and that's the House Republican chairman. So if that's where he is, what's the likelihood that it's going to pass through the House, in some semblance to what it is right now? So you know, where this bill goes after it, even if it gets through the Senate, I don't know.
And why did you call your story reality check for Rubio?
Just because, I mean, here they've got some momentum in the Senate side. You know, that week the markup had gone fairly well. They were able to get Orrin Hatch's vote with a special deal on the high-skilled visas. But meanwhile, the House is showing even more signs that it's going to be difficult to pass a bill there.
How is he positioning politically? How much is Marco Rubio thinking about his future, 2016? How important are the alliances that he makes right now, and how important is a win on immigration to his future?
Yeah, one of the things that when he was thinking about getting into this, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, gave him advice and said that, you know, you need a big accomplishment under your belt when you're going to run for president. I think that that's part of his formulation in doing this, but it just, I mean, I don't think, my own view is that it's been pretty bad, pretty hard for him this last few weeks with all the hits he's taking on the right.
Jonathan Strong, reporter for National Review, is our guest. One of his recent stories, McConnell's immigration pickle. Speaking of the leader of Republicans in the Senate, you write that the debate rages on and the Senate Minority Leader is caught in the middle, pleasing no one.
Yeah, he's in such a tough spot because, you know, he's in cycle. Since the Tea Party wave of 2010, even a master strategist like him has to pay attention to his right flank. And so, you know, it's difficult for him. Rand Paul could come out against this bill in a really strong way, and then his home state senator, who defeated the primary opponent in 2010, who was backed by McConnell, would be coming out against this. But, you know, McConnell, you know, kind of seems like he wants this bill to pass in his remarks praising it a few weeks ago.
All right, our guest, Jonathan Strong, taking your calls. Republicans can dial us up at 202-585-3881. Democrats, 202-585-3880. And Independents, 202-585-3882. Let's go to the phones and hear from Bill in Kissimmee, Florida, on our Republicans line. Hi, Bill.
Yeah, hey, I just had a comment about the immigration bill. I think it would be a disaster for the Republicans to go through with this. When Reagan had the amnesty bill in '86, the amount of the Hispanic votes for the Republicans went down sharply after this. I think the main reason why that.
Keep going, Bill.
The main reason why these immigrants are voting for Democrats are because Democrats are promising them stuff like free health care, food stamps, birth control, etc. I just think that this would just be a disaster for the Republican Party. That's all.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the consensus view or the conventional wisdom among Republican operatives, like the professional people who focus on how to win the presidential election and the House and Senate for Republicans, think very strongly that immigration is a good bet for Republicans, and they argue that this will open the door for a chance to interact with Hispanic voters and build inroads. I have to say I'm a skeptic of this whole case for reasons that the caller talks about, which is that in 1986, Republicans were behind an immigration bill that offered amnesty to a lot of voters, and that didn't seem to build them support. John McCain is well known for backing comprehensive immigration reform, and he only did a few points better than Mitt Romney. I mean, clearly something they need to address, but just when you start questioning the actual premises of the argument, I don't find satisfactory answers from a data standpoint.
Jonathan Strong's latest piece in National Review Online. You can find it today. McCain against the wacko birds. This is a profile of Senator John McCain and the relationship he has with some members of the Senate, a trio of younger Republican colleagues he has dubbed the wacko birds. And he's taking aim at both members of the Senate and the House.
Yeah.
What's this dynamic, and why are you following it?
Yet one of the interesting things, I start off my piece, John McCain had this knockdown, drag-out floor fight with Senator Mike Lee on the Senate floor, you know, last week, a couple weeks ago. And at the end of this, they're done debating on the floor, and McCain proceeds to walk around ranting to individual senators. I mean, he's incensed. And so the point of the piece really is, this is something, it's a battle that there's some core policy disputes, but it's gotten pretty personal. Ted Cruz is somebody who likes to fight just as much as McCain. So we're going to see some fireworks. And another interesting part, longtime McCain confidant John Weaver says maybe this is a maverick seeing another maverick, meaning that McCain, can't stand the sight of another person willing to buck the establishment.
How